Hey, welcome back to Cool, Calm, and Chaotic, episode 230. And it is a phenomenal episode because we are joined by the amazing human being from the Great White North, the one and only Mr. Chris Liddle, who every time comes on the episode just makes life a little bit happier, doesn't he? Phenomenal human being. And we are not only joined by Chris Liddle, Canada's own, but we are joined by Australia's own Miss Ruby Cherie, who has the name I probably love saying the most. And as you all know, both of these human beings are phenomenal. You can go back and check out episodes with Ruby and Chris. But now they've all come together for one amazing podcast, and we just dug too deep and went down too many rabbit holes to fit into one episode. So we're going to do this again. A new episode will be out in a few weeks. But it's part one, and we talk about whole bunches and bunches of stuff of like how to get the questions you have to ask yourself to get back on track and to gain and control and manage everything. Manage your health, manage your fitness, manage your life in a way that fits you. It's an amazing conversation. I would sit here and I would dig into all of the topics that we brought up, but let's leave some intrigue. Stick around and think and listen to all of the topics that we get into. Whether you live in the Sydney, Australia time zone, the Mountain time zone, or this wonderful Eastern time zone, whether you live in Canada, Australia, the United States, or anywhere else in the world, you're going to love this episode because anything that involves Chris Liddle and Ruby Cherie is bound to be nothing but absolutely fantastic. It's episode 230 of Cool, Calm, and Chaotic. Do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Whether you live in Australia, the Great White North, or the United States of America, all of our bases are covered today because we have not just my Canadian brother, Chris Liddle, and not just my Australian sister, Ruby Cherie. Oh, I love just saying your name, even with a little accent. We have them both on one podcast. We are from Australia, Canada, and the United States on this podcast. You've heard them all before. You know that they are both absolutely phenomenal human beings, in my top 2 favorite human beings on the planet. And now we get to hear them talk all together on one podcast. So Ruby, Chris, give yourselves, I guess, a little introduction, even though everybody knows who you are, and lead off with something that has made you happy and made your heart smile in the last 2 weeks.
Ruby, I'll let you go first.
Well, I guess I'm in the same happiness bandwagon as Mark because things that make you happy are what make life more enjoyable. And as much as I am someone that is all about getting the best body composition out of my clients, you can't really get that without having a happy, positive life because it goes hand in hand. So that's why I do what I do, I say what I say, and that's why I love Chris and I love Mark because they're all about telling someone you love them and finding the little joys in life that we always miss out, which I actually have to ask you right now, Mark, what's in your cup over there? Is it Jamaican coffee beans?
This is a cup full of Jamaican coffee beans because life is more keen with Jamaican coffee beans. And going down to the favorite thing, this is, unfortunately, it's just water, but you have no idea how much I wish it was Jamaican coffee beans. When I read that, I couldn't stop smiling for like the next 10 minutes.
I always drink like instant coffee just because I have like 6 teaspoons a day, and because it's so weak, it's not really getting a lot of caffeine in me. But when I have actual Jamaican coffee beans, you can tell because there's just like this deep texture to it. It's like, I just had Jamaican coffee beans.
I love it. So this is weird. Like we were just talking about like Celsius and Fahrenheit and like tablespoons, teaspoons. I realize I'm kind of an idiot. Well, I'm probably an idiot with most things in life. Like I couldn't even tell you how much coffee I put in my coffee. With everything, I just like kind of eyeball it and wing it. I have no idea like what the proper amount of coffee is in a coffee pot.
I'm going to stand up and say neither do I.
That's okay.
On what they want in there. Like I take a French press and I bring it up to like the bottom line. If I talk to somebody who roasts coffee beans, they're going to tell me something else. Some might tell me more. And then for like a coffee machine, you'll see that sometimes it gives you a guideline for like how much coffee grounds to put in there. half the people don't follow it. So I think it's open to interpretation. You just follow your bliss with the coffee.
Yeah, it's like a Bob Ross painting. You know.
That's exactly it. Like just a happy little clump of coffee here.
I love it. Chris, what's something that's made you happy in the last 2 weeks?
I know that the last time I was on this show, I was talking about my expression that I was going to use called like get the bag.
Get
kind
the
of
bag,
thing.
yeah.
I've also found an alternative wording, get that bread. Some people might get. And in the last 2 weeks, I realized that like my foot's been on the gas pedal. It's full steam ahead, and I'm getting the bread. So it feels pretty good to do what I said I was going to do.
I love it. You same type of concept though. Like just go get it. What made you make the transition?
And what bread are you picking to get right now? What bread are you going for?
Oh, I mean, if I'm going to go to the grocery, I'm 100% going to go for like a sprouted grain, like a whole wheat variety, because I like how it tastes, and I know that it's a bit more rich in nutrition kind of thing. Like if you're getting like the Wonder Bread white bread, it's just kind of like air quotes bread. So I take bread pretty seriously. You know, I wouldn't say I eat an abundance of it, but when I do, pretty particular on that bread.
What's your favorite savory and sweet spreads?
I don't know. Like, I don't like are we talking about things that go on the bread or just bread? Things that go on the bread? Probably just peanut butter and honey.
Peanut butter and honey on one piece of bread?
Well, I could do it on 2 pieces of bread.
Oh yeah, just on bread. I don't think I've ever had peanut butter and honey together on a piece of bread in my entire life.
Well, you're missing out.
I clearly am. That's all going to change in about 5 minutes after we end this podcast. Maybe before.
That's something I used to do when I was younger. I actually have only just started eating bread again. I'm not really a massive bread fan, but I'm that person that just likes plain white bread. Like plain white bread. When I do have bread, and if it's sweet, I put strawberry. It cannot be anything but strawberry jam. Sorry, but the other jams are just no. Strawberry jam, but I put peanut butter powder and I mix it into like a little paste, and then I put it on like my bread. And because the white bread is so thin, it's like this much jam and peanut butter spread. And then the jam, and then the 2 slices are there. But I have probably over 2 kilos of veggies a day. So I'm pretty covered on the micronutrients and vitamins there. So that's that. But I usually like savory food. So I like tuna, fat-free mayo, or tuna, tomato paste, or really good chicken breast on my bread. How about you, Mark?
Oh gosh, there's so many questions. I have so much to think about. One, I like Wonder Bread. Like I like the thought of Wonder Bread, but like because I like the idea that I could take my bread and ball it all up into my hand, and it could get into a little ball. Like it's not like you said, because it's not even like real bread. But gosh, it's so great. But I like rye bread the best, and I'm a big sourdough bread fan. And I actually eat bread all the time. Basically every day I eat bread. But I generally have it like with a sandwich, like a chicken sandwich. I generally have it with chicken sandwich. So like a savory side, a chicken sandwich, and I have like shredded chicken that I put on a sandwich with mustard. I actually make these. I make like, just because I'm messy, I like break the bread up and I put it all in a bowl, and I make like, I call them like sandwich bowls. So I still have the bread because I love it. But if I have the chicken with all the mustard on it, I'm just like a mess and I get sloppy. So I put all of my bread in the bowl and mix it all up with the chicken, and I have that. But thinking about like a sweet, I think just a classic toast with cinnamon and sugar, some butter and then cinnamon and sugar on it is the ultimate. Like that's the ultimate to me. Man, hold on.
Instead of an Eton mess, it's a Mark mess.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so is that like one of your staple meals every single day?
Yeah, every single day I have chicken, onions, mustard, all jammed up and mixed up in a bowl with in a bread bowl. So with bread broken up into it. Once in a while, I actually make the sandwich. It's just like I'm lazy, and it's easier to just break it up and put it all in a bowl. So that with a side of yogurt, with a Greek yogurt on the side, I have that literally every single day of my life. That is one of my staple meals. And like, so I think I brought this up. I don't know if there's Costco out there, but like Costco here is like the big store. Are there Costco's in Canada and United States or in Australia?
Like two maybe.
Two maybe. Okay, so Costco is like a big thing here, and their brand, like Kirkland brand, is like, dude, they're great at everything. Everything they have is like quality and solid. But like one of these cans of chicken is like 48 grams of protein. So you have that, and it's only like 200 calories. So between that, if you put one slice of bread in there and a Greek yogurt on the side, it's literally like 60 grams of protein and like under 300 calories a day. It's like it's a sickening ratio. It's amazing.
Question though, is it like 80% of your sodium for the day?
Yeah, it's probably about 80%. It's actually not even that much. It's only like 65-ish probably, but that's the other thing. So then you guys can tell me I'm wrong here. I sweat a lot. I mean, I work out every day, and I'm pretty active. I generally don't personally care about sodium at all. I don't put any thought into it. And I'm not saying that's right, by the way. I just like, for me personally, I don't have any type of like hypertension issues or anything. So maybe I probably should care more about that, but I generally don't. And that's like the only can that I eat in a day. That's really the only form of soda. That's the other thing. I don't put salt on anything, and I never have my whole life. Like, I never add salt to anything. Not even that I think salt's bad. I just never have, like, in my entire life. I don't sprinkle it in anything I'm cooking. Like, I'm super bland in everything that I eat, so I can afford it, I guess.
I mean, that is the importance of having nuance within like a person's routine. Like, everybody's going to have a different approach. They're going to have different lifestyle. You sweat a lot. Some other people might not. Mm-hmm. You don't feel any negative impacts. Some people might. And so it's like, it's not going to be a one size fits all setup for everybody. So I would say that should be encouraging for people who might not match up with the person that they follow on Instagram, where they can realize, well, like, I mean, they are hitting their protein goals, their calorie goals are in check, and they're feeling all right. And other than that, they don't need to be scared to eat foods that they enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually find a lot of people fear salt when they're active people. Like, if you're really active and like just in general, women especially, they fear salt, and then they wonder why they're cramping up all the time. They wonder why they're always tired. It's like, well, you kind of drink 1 liter of water a day, and you fear salts, and you eat clean, so you're not really getting any of the electrolytes you need in your day to have energy. Like, if you're eating a lot of veggies, and if you're drinking water and you're moving your body, you kind of need the electrolytes to go with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, both of those are such good points, and it's another one of the many reasons I love you guys is like you just said, Chris, like, there's so much nuance to every situation, and it's not this dogmatic one size fits all type of approach. Like, what is your entire lifestyle like? What is your life situation like? What can you realistically do? What do you enjoy doing, and like, how does it all fit in? There's a huge difference between somebody who's, you know, doesn't move at all, doesn't drink any water, and really struggles with having a lot of like processed things that have sodium in it, and somebody that is living a different lifestyle. And when you start to get pigeonholed into one thing, or I saw this, so I need to do this. I saw this, so I need to do this. Like, you just become so lost, and you're missing the big picture. And you guys are good at making the big picture. You guys are like, you two are both like, you know, those things where like, you like look at the image and it's like all these crazy colors, and when you look, like the thing pops out at you. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you guys are that. You guys are the pop out of the messy image.
I love that analogy.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome. I find that a lot of problems out there with the information thing, like especially in the women's groups. I don't know whether you guys see it in whatever groups you're in, but there are always girls asking for advice, and people just shoot out things as stupid as, well, not stupid, but like, it's stupid without context. Calorie deficit. Oh, you just need to do more HIIT. Oh, you just need to do fasting. Like, people just throw out information without asking questions. And it's like, you don't know anything about this person. Like, yeah, they gave you a little bit of detail in the caption, but that's still not enough detail. Like, and then they just try and get as much information as possible, but they don't put any of it into action, or then they get confused and then they put in the wrong thing. And then, like we said before, like people don't realize like what coaching, I was saying this to Chris, like people don't actually realize what coaching is. Like it's not about lifting the weights. It's not about eating the food. It's about that actual objective feedback. It's about listening, asking questions, and trying to trigger point things. And it's also looking at the lifestyle, the happiness factors, and the things that actually influence the things they think are going to impact their results.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So Chris, like kind of piggybacking off of that, like, well, I guess maybe this has popped into my head, so that both of you can answer this. Like that type of evolution and that type of growth, just as coaches, I think that maybe all three of us have gone through that, and personal life experience as well as dealing with other people experiences. Like take that happiness thought and take that whole lifestyle thought. Like what are ways that you two have grown since, let's say, the first day you became a trainer, a coach, whatever you want to call it, to now? What are like some major big rocks in your train of thought or the way you coach, the way you do life that have changed, taking all of those things into consideration? So like a background, like what I'm thinking about is like, it's so easy to start out and be in that mentality, like you need to do this amount of sets and reps, and you need to focus on this type of nutrition and focus on all of these things, and leave out the big picture of life, which includes living a fruitful, happy life, where you can somehow balance doing all the things that you love with living a healthy lifestyle. Basically, with all of that into consideration, like how have you changed since the first time you started coaching to right now, February, whatever it is, 2022?
So I'll kick this off. When I kind of reflect on the beginning of my career and where I was at in my life and the things that I thought of and the things that I knew, everything that has contributed to that has been the openness to feedback that I have had. So openness to feedback when I am around someone with more experience than me, and my ability to stay humble in that situation and understand that I'm always going to have more to learn. And the people that I look up to are always going to have more to learn. So having that growth mindset has kind of helped me take steps ahead to continue to like refine my processes. And when I think about the client's role in that scenario, understanding that like nobody can do everything by themselves. So for me, if I have a client that needs me to refer out because it's just something that is out of my specialty, just owning the fact that a referral network is incredible. That's what's going to help that client. That's how we find ways to communicate with them in their language and find ways to help them with what they are going through, not just what we think that they're going through our bias. And added on to that, as I'm reflecting, like just understanding that most people, when they're looking to progress, when they have this big goal, when they just need to be consistent with something, they have all the answers within them. Like they're capable of doing amazing things. And our role isn't to do the work for them, and our role isn't to hold their hand while they do it. Our role is to take what they have going on in their environment, take it in, find a way to reframe it in a way that makes more sense to them, to take one step forward, and then to repeat that process so that they can stay consistent and they get that compound effect. So it's much more intricate than thinking that we are the heroes of the story, because we are not. And it's much more intricate than thinking that like we made it now, like we're however many years in, we've done it, we can stand on that hill with our flag and say like we are the best, because we're never done. Like the moment that we are done is when we have died. So, and that goes with career, that goes with life. So getting into that mindset of growth, continuing to get better, continuing to improve is really where it's at. And that's kind of basically my take on it and my experiences as I've grown as a trainer.
I think that's great. And I actually just went to grab some paper because I was going to go completely paperless here, but I want to jot a couple things down just to make sure I come back to them because you brought up a couple really good things that I would love to dig deeper into here in a second.
For
But
sure.
Ruby, as I'm pulling this paper out, give us yours.
I always got a little teary there just hearing something you said at the end because it brought back a flashback, and I just remembered it sitting at a cafe. Before I got into all of this, I was this little 37-kilo skinny stick who was promoting a nightclub and just promoting a nightclub every Friday night, every Saturday night. And like at that age, at 18, he put me in charge of the whole promo team right away because he could see my work ethic and how much I wanted to be the best at what I did. And that's always been my thing, which can be a double-edged sword. Like I remember going through high school with the numbers 98 written on my wrist because I needed a 98 ATAR to get into the degree I wanted for uni. And it was like that, it was just like this thing at me wanting to just cut out all the noise just to do that thing to become the best I did. And what I focused on, I achieved, and I was selected for the actual course anyway. But go back to that coffee table, something that he instilled in me is constant and never-ending improvements. And it's stuck with me from the age of 18 to now. And the next tattoo that I want to get, which we were talking about tattoos at the end of our last podcast, every single tattoo I have has such an in-depth meaning because I put months of thought into each one. And the next one I want to get is Semper Crescens, Semper Descens, which means always growing, always learning, or always evolving, always learning. And it's been my motto my whole life. And I've always questioned things. I've always been okay to not know the answers and wanted to go searching for more. And something you said, Chris, reframe the thing. When I was listening to a podcast on growth or fixed mindset, I developed my own little concept thing, which I want to actually start putting into a diagram. You either reframe the situation, or you're going to keep revolving into it until you've learned how to reframe that to actually start serving you. And it's true with anything. You're either complaining and sick of where you are, or you're going to reframe it into an opportunity, because there's either the opportunity path that you go through, or there's that complaining of why things are the way they are. And sometimes it's because all you're trying to do is control the shit that you can't control versus just focusing on other things. Like when clients come to me and they're all stressed out and they're trying to focus on how to not be stressed and they're trying to focus on how to not feel this way, I'm like, have you ever thought about not trying to not feel that way and instead focus on how you want to feel and how you want to live life, and actually developing this picture in your mind, this visualization of where you want to go? And I think that stemmed from, because I can still feel it, and even just talking about it, I can feel the earling on my hands. When I was competing for my powerlifting comp, I remember sitting down in the gym and imagining the gritty earling on my hands as I got the bar on me so I could squat it, and I visualized it and it executed the same way. And it's like the power of visualization is it's not talked about enough. And I think it's the biggest thing. I know the biggest thing that holds a lot of people back is a lack of confidence in themselves, because of stories they tell themselves or because of what they compare themselves to. And especially with social media out there, they're always feeding the wrong focus onto what they think they should do. And I don't know whether you guys come across it a lot, because I used to do it as well. Oh, I only got this done. Oh, but I only did this. Oh, but I should have done that. I know I should do that. I only did that. Like, people think that small wins, people think that big wins for them, they should just not celebrate it, or it's just this small little thing that shouldn't be talked about. But something that I've continued to realize is the more that you actually focus on these good things that you do, the more likely you are to keep doing them, because you're realizing how good it makes you feel. But if you keep focusing on the bad shit, how can you do the good shit? Like, be the good shit, and then you can do the good shit, and you will feel like good shit, that can work. You can feel like good shit because no one likes to be a bad, smelly shit. I mean, like, going into that, we all know how important digestive health is. So that's actually something that I've realized more and more through this process, is just how important digestive health is. Like, I remember going through my bodybuilding years and then my powerlifting years, I've never had a good digestive system. And then, like, actually starting to put a lot more of my focus, like, I diversified my approach, and it makes my heart smile. This makes my heart smile. So I didn't answer your question. Something that made me smile, because I couldn't think of one, but now I did. One of my clients voice messaged me and she's like, it's because I zoomed the fuck out, Ruby. I did what you said and I zoomed the fuck out. And I'm like, hey, that sounds like something I tell you to do and I tell everyone to do. Like, it's my caption to zoom the fuck out. Because when you zoom out and realize that you don't know anything and there's so much to learn and how it all comes together and there's no real answer, and how science and studies don't prove anything. They just disprove something. And it's like, there is so much out there. People need to stop putting things into blanket terms. And once I learned that, and I signed up in 2018, actually, I went to my first massive course with my mentors. I'm just like, holy shit, there is so much that I don't know right now. And ever since then, for like half a year, I was so hesitant to start putting things online, because I'd type something up and then I'd be like, wait, but then what if this happens? What if this person is this? What if this person is this? That won't apply to that person. And I'm just thinking of this whole context of how much nuance there is. But now it's like, I put it out there, but I also put out the message, not every message is for you. And I try to only put out things that can be a little bit more generalized. But when they're not, it's like, yeah, but then there's also this to consider. So I guess that's my whole growth really started from the day I got my mentors there. But my whole life I've had disordered eating. Like, it wasn't until COVID that I was able to actually nut that in the head. So I was very blessed for COVID. And it's like, I was always chasing an end goal. And this is I'm talking the most. Chris, you're going to have to like pick up the slack after this. But when I first started out, it was always chasing that end goal. I thought that if I didn't have an end date there, I wasn't going to succeed, because I didn't have something to strive for. And that was always the way I did things. And I realized a lot of people have that and attach it to the scale or something that they put their passes and fails on, which tends to be the scale, because they lived in the magazine era where friggin' Donny Parcher and Patron, whatever, had this like skinny waist and looked like this. It's like, you can look like me. Or like all those people like that. Like, I had Miranda Kerr on my walls. So it's like, I always had to have that to strive for. And then 2017, I finished at the Arnold's, my last bodybuilding comp, and I'm like, yay, a break. That was March. August that year, I was already competing in freaking powerlifting, going for powerlifting. And then I did another one in September, and then another one in December, and then it just kept going. It's like, I've never actually had that break up until COVID. And it was always striving for body composition for bodybuilding. And then I was always trying to be under 56 for powerlifting, because I had a weight class to meet and I started to compete internationally. So it was always that stress on my body and my gut health. But as soon as COVID ended, everything just changed. And it took about a year and a half after that to finally get a grasp on my relationship with food. And that's only because I started to not focus on an end goal and an outcome and what I want to achieve and what I should be doing, and putting my worth on all these passes, fails, what I should be doing, what I'm not doing, and enjoying the process. And that's what made it so easy for me to be mediocre throughout COVID, because I know that I'm doing this for life. It's not just a 12-week body. It's not a 16-week body. I'm not chasing an outcome. I have no set date, but my body has improved over time in ebbs and flows. And all that matters is that you're consistent and that you take the focus off the outcome, off the results, and you put it into the process. And that's become more and more my message. And the most I think the most growth for me has come from starting my podcast, because I've started to have more conversations, and I met some amazing people that have made me become better at conversation. And now, going into this year, my biggest focus is learning the art of conversation, learning the art of communication, because I feel that's the most important thing that too many people are missing out on. They just listen to respond, or they just listen without actually being curious about the person they're talking to. And it's something I want to get better at. And I want to just pause and start to really get curious about people, because I feel that opens up the most conversation and it makes people feel safe. And one of the biggest studies I did in school was the art of belonging. Like, we all want to belong, and we feel like we belong when we feel safe. And that's just my ramble. You can pick up the slack now.
There's no slack to pick up. That was fantastic. There was so much in that, and I jotted a couple things down, but just your statement at the end there is really, really important in any area of life, and it's the root of it is being able to sit and reflect on things, and like you said, with being listened, not just hearing what other people are saying, but actually listening to what they are saying. Where are they coming from when they're saying that? Why? What might have happened? What events? What situations have led up to have led them to have that frame of thought to even say whatever it is they were saying? And unless you're open to thinking about those things and being reflective, you're always just going one thing to the next, and you're not actually listening and hearing what is being said. And I think that's really important. And that goes down to even just everybody with their own nutrition, their own nutrition, eating, their own health in general. A lot of times we don't actually think and listen and think and reflect on what we need at the time. So we're always kind of lost. We're always kind of in this fog, and you never actually get to the root of the problem because you never took time to actually listen. You never took time to actually think about it. And before I forget, I would love to ask this to both of you, and we'll go back to some things that both of you said because they were both phenomenal. But this is kind of one of the big buzz key phrases, the big things you hear that I've really been grappling with myself, and I've asked a few people, is this whole term of relationship with food. You need to change your relationship with food, and you just have a poor relationship with food. And I think for most everybody, it makes sense. Oh yeah, my eating's a mess. It's jacked up. But what does that mean? What does I have a poor relationship with food mean? Or I need to fix my relationship with food? That's something that I think sounds good, and I agree with it. By the way, I agree. This is not I'm trying to help. I'm trying to understand that whole concept more in a way that I could articulate it and help more people. I think that relationship with food is a very, very troubling and ambiguous term. What does that mean? What do you guys think about when you hear relationship with food?
So when I'm thinking about relationship with food, it's kind of like when we're trying to help someone with something and they're thinking about all these things that they need to work on. And just kind of borrowing a concept that I think Ruby brought up earlier, finding something else for them to focus on. Because oftentimes, if we're talking about relationship with food as being something that becomes an obstacle or something that escalates and makes our life worse, we could just turn the table and look at the things that make life better. I find when people have a good social circle, a good support group, then food changes, the dynamics change. It becomes something as breaking bread. I know we went off on that tangent of bread, but in this context, it would be more so of you have someone that's aligned with your goals. You have someone that you have common values with, and you have someone that when you have a bad day, you have someone to tell about your day too. When we're focusing on that aspect of our life, a lot of dynamics change. The isolation people may have experienced during COVID, that could cause some semblance of a tough relationship with food. But if we flip that, we look at the opportunities where we can connect with like-minded people we may not have connected with. And I think all three of us can relate to that. Just the fact that we have an opportunity to find people that are equipped and can meet us where we're at. Like people that have similar quirks, people that will help us feel comfortable, people that want to see us win. That social dynamic of life is imperative. Like we need to emphasize it, and when we can make that our focal point, we might not need to worry so much about the other aspects of life that can become an obstacle. And to circle around to everything that I've kind of outlined here, to be honest, the things that I am good at are connecting with people. I am good at sensing things. I'm intuitive. I'm an empath. And sometimes you just have to leverage your strengths. And everybody's strengths are going to be a little bit different. But in a scenario like this, that's the approach I would take. Not trying to speak to things that I may not understand, but instead offering up things that I happen to have a lot of experience and strength with. So I guess that's my weird way of answering your question, Mark.
First off, you are most certainly an empath, and you are most certainly somebody that connects with people at a root level that is genuine. And like, what I love talking to you, Chris, for many reasons, but like, it's very, very clear from every conversation that anyone has with you, like you care about people. Like you are just a good-hearted person, and you care about what people think, what they're going through. Like your conversations are not like Ruby said; they're not just hearing words and not actually listening. Like you're very attentive, you're very attentive to what people are saying, and that certainly comes across. And you said a few things in there, like just your relationships with other people, your situation, it does truly impact the way that you eat. Like the whole idea of breaking bread, having a meal, having my bread bowl every single day of chicken and bread mashed up with mustard and a yogurt I have it every single day, and it's a totally different element when I eat that by myself at lunch, or if I'm here with my wife and we're having dinner. And even if I was eating the same thing, the whole meal, everything about it is 100% different. And like changing those environmental situations immediately has an effect on your relationship with food. And maybe it's in the opposite too. Maybe it's you have to spend more time eating on your own or in a more reflective state. But like just the impact of your environment on that is huge. And also you're a great person. So Ruby, what are your thoughts?
I feel like a lot of people feel like they are stuck in the place they are now as well. Like where they are now, it's always going to be that way. Or the fact that like one of the very first topics I remember ever touching on many years ago was, are you an abstainer or are you a moderator? Because I feel like there are different ways that everyone should navigate their journey with food. Like some people might say, yeah, just eat the donut, but that might not be, I'm going to mute that. That might not be great advice for Jane, but it's great advice for Susan. Like there's so much advice out there that people just try and take it all in, and they're too hyper focused on food, like what Chris said. But are you an abstainer or a moderator? Because the foods that we eat impact our brain more than we realize. Like it triggers cravings. It can set our dopamine circuits in a furious loop. Like there are certain things in food that impact things in our gut that then make us more sensitive to food cues outside. Like there's so many different ways to tackle a relationship with food, but to me, it's feeling in control of the actions that I'm taking, because a lot of the time people feel like food controls them. And yeah, like Chris said, it's removing that focus off the food, because you're not trying to fix something. Trying to fix something isn't the way to go about it. It's more so creating a structure in your life. We were talking about this before you jumped on as well. It's people feel like tracking food is an obsession. People feel like having a structure, having a routine, having organization has become this obsessive tendency or something that is bad. there's no one is willing to live in the messy middle. It's either one extreme or the other extreme. It's either let's lose a lot of weight, let's do these fad diets, blah, 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 or health at every size taken the wrong way. And now everyone's just saying that you shouldn't lose weight or that you're not allowed to lose weight. Like, everyone has an opinion on something. What is your opinion? Like, start focusing on what you want to build in your life. And this is the theme of everything that I'm going to keep saying. Like, what do you want to feel? What life do you want to live? Like, what is this image that you want to strive towards? Because trying to avoid things isn't going to help the situation. Like, what helps me is building structure and doing what I said I will do, having confidence in doing what I said I will do, and having, like, sometimes you need to get super, super strict on yourself in order to then have the freedom later. Like, I had to set specific meal times and make sure that I started to regulate my body to eating at those meal times only. If I wanted to eat in between, I would just drink, because I knew I was eating enough for my body anyway. But it was like, I needed to regulate myself a lot more before I could take the reins off to be able to have a little bit more flexibility within it. It's almost like when people don't, like, most of the people out there don't really, I realize they don't actually know what foods are really high in protein and low in fats and carbs and stuff like that to actually help them. Like, they don't actually know what they need to eat for themselves to get to where they want to be. So it does help to have some structure, to track your food, to do some form of awareness method to what you are currently doing right now, because you can't fix what you're not aware of. So I guess the whole tie-up that I'm trying to get to, so it doesn't become another ramble, is you need to realize there's trade-offs with everything that you do. Like, if you're going to eat the cake, you're going to have trade-offs. It's going to be satiety, hunger. You're going to be slacking in protein for the day if you don't start prioritizing that. You might want more cake after that because you weren't mindful when you ate it. You might have, like, if you have any guilt or any of that crap around food, that is not a healthy relationship with food. Like, everything should be an intentional choice. Just like you said before you clicked record, my goal is to take us as far off track as possible. Well, that's not really off track because it's your intention to go off track. So that's still a track because it was done with intent. It's, people don't have awareness and intent over what they're doing. So then they feel like they don't have the reins and that it's taking control over them and that there's something wrong with them. But it's like, no, it's almost like that whole indistraction thing that we were talking about before, Chris, where you aren't distracted from anything. You feel distracted because you're trying to focus on 100 different things at once. But what are you distracted from? Do you actually know what is in your schedule that you should be doing right now? Because if you schedule something and you have a clear outline and you break it down into the most manageable steps possible, people don't break things down enough because they think that little actions mean nothing. But if you have something set there for you to do, then you will most likely do it. But a lot of people don't actually have that structure in their life. And on your note, they don't structure in time for fun, for play. It's all work, work, work. Because yes, you can do that TV thing. You can do that play thing. But put it into your schedule, put it into your calendar so that it's not getting distracted from something. You don't feel out of control. And that's the same with food. You want ice cream, you want chocolate, cool. Fit it into the way that you see your ideal day of eating, because it's not about removing negative emotions. I wrote remove negative emotions when you were talking, and then I erased it. And it's managing negative emotions, and not through food, but through actually listening to yourself. Back to our last conversation. It's not just about listening to other people, but we stop listening to ourselves because it gets uncomfortable. And we are so busy doing, we've become human doings, not human beings. Like, if you actually slow down and ask yourself, what is it that I want? Like, how do I want to feel? Why am I feeling this way? Like, I don't even know if she started doing it properly yet, but I have girls that don't even want to pause to write down how they feel because they don't want to. Like, people just don't want to feel. They're too busy saying, I don't have time for that. I need to do this. I need to do this. I'm too anxious about this. Oh, but I have to look after kids. Take a breath. Like, I feel exhausted half the time, and I don't even have kids to look after. These people are mums as well. It's like, if I'm exhausted and you're trying to run a business or you're trying to do this for your career and you have kids and your husband's acting like one of your kids, I think you need a break more than I do. Like, it's something that I spoke about with someone else on my podcast, which I cannot wait to talk about again, is there's these perfectionists and there's these doers. I need to do everything perfect. And it's like, you fill your day with so much that all you want to do is just let it off on food, or food is now this binge thing at the end of the day. And it's become your release because you just spent the day doing so much. So it becomes this never ending cycle of binge, do. And then something I realized with one of my girls, only because I'm starting to master this whole conversational thing, is she always loses it on the weekend. And then I finally put one and one together. She has a very negative mindset around her job. She changes jobs all the time because she just, it's not the job, it's her view around the way she sees things. But because she hates her work so much, her weekends are never going right because, hey, she's not working on the weekends now. I can do whatever I want. It's like this, it's like a total shift of mindset. It's either it's that extreme and then this other extreme. So managing our emotions and being a master at that, I feel, is the key to having a healthy relationship with food. Because like, you're not married to food. That's the thing. That's what a healthy relationship with food is. You aren't in a relationship with food. So a healthy relationship with food is realizing that our emotions shouldn't be attached to food, but it's not an on and off switch. It's a dimmer switch, because sometimes there are family events where, yeah, we need to enjoy the moments with our family, but it's not something that's just going to be like, on switch, I'm so guilty now. It's a balance. Like, it's balance looks different for everybody. That's the other thing that I hate. There is no such thing as balance. And you're not going to have balance in your life when you're trying to lose weight. Like, you need to accept that there's no balance in your life. You have to make sacrifices to lose weight. And then in comes the conversation. You shouldn't be in a deficit your whole freaking life. You go in, you lose weight, then you come back out and you have a little bit more balance, whatever balance looks like to you on the given day, on the given week. But there are always going to be trade-offs. And realizing that with awareness is the key to a healthy relationship that isn't really you being married to food. It's not on a pedestal. It's just food. And it has a different meaning in different social contexts. Like Chris said. Mm-hmm. Holy shit, I ramble too much. Sorry.
No, you never ramble too much, Ruby. There was a lot in there. I took a lot of notes there, but one of the things that definitely stood out is that, like, the middle is messy and it's tough, and I think we're just like innate to either go to one side or the other. We live in this world of extremes. I have to cut everything out, or just F it. It doesn't matter. And the reality is, with most things, the middle is where you need to be. You just need to be firm in the middle, not this kind of dipping your toes on both sides of the creek there. You need to be firm in your middle and be realistic with that fact that it is going to be tough and there are trade-offs. That doesn't mean you have to give up everything, and that doesn't mean you have to go all in on everything, but like, you can't have all of your cake and eat it too. There has to be trade-offs. And like you kind of brought up in the middle there, is at some point you have to get uncomfortable with asking yourself those questions and dealing with where you are in that given time. And I love that idea of the dimmer switch. It's not an on-off switch, it's a dimmer switch. And that's one of the other things I wrote down, is like, if that is a message we should be preaching more, is it's about managing those emotions and managing those issues and not removing them and getting rid of them, because there's a good chance they're there with you for life. It'd be nice if we could remove all evil from the world, but it's not going to happen. There will be evil in this world forever. How can we manage with them? Let's not try to fool ourselves in the fact that they don't exist. Let's accept it and figure out, how can I deal with it? And like you said, your situation might be different than this person's, and we really need to be internally reflective. And I think that's kind of where I've grown to, and hearing both of you talk about that and dealing with the situations that you're in, that's kind of where I am at too. And I think that's one of the best pieces of advices that anybody can take for any situation is like being reflective and understanding that your situation is very unique and you can pull a lot of these really good tools and tricks. I like to say like adding tools to your toolbox or, weapons to your arsenal that you can kind of pull out at any time. They're helpful, but like that specific thing might not be helpful for you at that specific moment. But kind of build up a repertoire. Like you said, you can never start your really good journey of figuring out what types of foods and amount of foods and macros fit you if you don't even know what a protein source is. Like you need to build information, but then have that discernment of when can I plug and play these into my life specifically. Because I might be completely overwhelmed and overrun like crazy. I can't do all of these things that I'm hearing on the internet, but I can do this thing and I can move that needle forward a little bit. And those are hard. Those are tough. It is tough for everybody to be open and vulnerable enough to feel your shortcomings or where you are personally struggling. It's much easier to avoid it and kind of put a Band-Aid over it or just move it to the side. When you are open and vulnerable with your own issues, it's tough, but that's the gateway to success right there.
Do you know the law of entropy?
No.
So law of entropy is we try to clean up every situation. It's almost like you clean up your room and then all of a sudden it's messy again. We always try to like make things so pristine clean. But the law of entropy is it's always going to go to its easiest state of existence, which is a state of mess. And we keep trying to over control that, where it's that, like, that's pretty much the situation that we're going to live with. So it's just managing the best way to get through it, because the only way is through. Like, you can't go over it or under it. It's through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just a great thought. Like that, it helps you accept reality more, just knowing that alone. But one thing that you kind of brought up and it made me think about it is like this. I call it like speaking words of life into things, and like we like to focus on the negatives of everything, but like why don't we put more focus on the things that we're doing good or the things that are working and build off of that? Because the negative always sucks you down way harder than the positive even builds you up. You need to keep stoking that fire of positivity and look at the good. And I like to call it speaking words of life into things. And I forget exactly what you said, but something along the lines of like if you're talking to somebody and they're saying like this is going wrong and this is going wrong, one thing I like to say is like on a scale of 1 to 10, and I ask this like the kids all the time, like how's your day going on a scale of 1 to 10? And if they're having a crap day, they'll be like a 3, it's terrible. And instead of even going on that, they'd be like, oh, that's awesome. Why wasn't it a 1? And if you can ask that question, and they'd be like, well, why wasn't it a 1? Well, this thing happened, and then you can build off that. Like that's great. Look at that. You could be a 1, but you're a 3 because of that. Then you start to talk about that positive stuff, and it's like anything. Like momentum begets more momentum. So like if you start focusing on those positives and you have some perspective that, yeah, it's pretty shitty right now, but it could definitely be worse. These are the things that are going good. Like it builds on each other, and you need to constantly be stoking that fire of positivity and good momentum forward.
I love that. I heard that on a podcast, and you actually just reminded me of it. About the why wasn't it a 1? It's because it's like you can think of all the reasons why it wasn't a 10, but why wasn't it a 1?
Yeah.
Well, and then you might actually start creeping that number higher.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, then you realize it actually wasn't a 3. It was actually probably like a 6, or maybe it wasn't a 10 still, but it certainly wasn't a 3. And yeah, it's a good point. It's really easy to say why it wasn't a 10. Like it's always easy to look at why I'm not there where I want to be, where I should be, but we never look back to think about, wow, why isn't it a 1? Why isn't it the worst day of my entire life? Well, these things happened. Okay, that's great. How can we build on those things?
I actually want to get Chris to even say something on this part, because with all the conversations you've said, I find a lot of people are very hesitant to give themselves a pat on the back or to say they're doing well at something, or to even put out a vivacious, however you want to say it, a vivacious goal, because it's like, yeah, well, if I don't put it out there, then it's okay, because I give myself a pass if I fail or if I don't get there. Like they give themselves this little get out of jail free card, because then they don't have to hold themselves up to a standard. Like if they don't get it, they don't have any skin in the game. Like that whole thing is something I'm seeing so often because it's something I used to do. Like I remember this so clearly. I always used to get over 90% in maths, always. And I always used to say to everybody, oh, I didn't even take my workbook home. I didn't study. Oh, I didn't study. Oh, I didn't study. Like, it's like if I tell everybody that I didn't study, then I don't have any expectations on getting a really good result, because if I don't get a good result, then I can say, well, I didn't study. This conversation just reminded me of that. And that was something I was notorious for doing in a lot of my exams. It's like, oh, I actually got 90. Well, I didn't study. I'm awesome. But it's like, I did study. But like, do you have anything else to say on that as well? I'm actually really curious.
So I'll add in some quick points, because I have to say that I'm gonna have a hard stop in like less than 10 minutes. So I'm going to try and like make myself as concise and clear as possible, so that we are able to close this up on a good note. When we were discussing everything about before, the things that stood out to me is that everyone we meet desires like a sense of purpose, whether it be in the gym or in their career. And everybody that we meet strives with autonomy, like being able to have some control in what they're doing. But there's no like finish line to this thing aside from like the end of our time on Earth. Like, we don't know that like at the end of the calendar year that the race checkered flag is going to pop out and be like, yeah, you made it. Like, we could be done like 20 years from now. We could be done 1 year from now. So the things that we can focus on now are in pursuing a sense of purpose. When I talk about that, I think about like my career change, where I went from an industry where I didn't feel a sense of purpose to an industry where I did feel a sense of purpose. When I had to get into that other industry, I had to set myself up to chase after goals that a lot of people said that I couldn't do. It's part of what has inspired some of my recent social media posts about chasing after goals. And the things that I had to focus on were, it was my autonomy, my ability to take control of that moment, to take control of like the things that I had the choice to do. I had the choice to go home and type up my resignation and come back to work and hand it to my boss. I had the choice to take obstacles and pivot and find a new solution. If a gym didn't hire me, I could put out a workout in a bar. Why? Because I knew somebody at the bar and they said it was okay to do a workout, and I had insurance and I was a certified trainer. So like, who's going to stop me? And so with that in mind, anybody that's pursuing their goal, like, we need not think about the intricacies and the methods and all this stuff. We just need to take into consideration that they need to feel a sense of purpose. They need to feel a sense of autonomy. And it's our role in their journey to help them get closer to that. We don't need to solve the problem overnight. We don't need to have some like magical formula or blueprint. We just need to get them a bit closer and then be consistent in that process, so that as time goes by, as we go a week into the journey, a year into the journey, a decade into the journey, they're closer to that than they were before. So I'm hoping that people that have listened to us chat take time to dive into past conversations, or maybe assess some of their strengths, so that they can take into consideration like the good things, to realize like this is why their day is a 3 and not a 1. And I'm hoping that they realize that there's a lot of things that are in their control. There's a lot of things that are going to bring them closer to their goal. In order to have the firepower that they need to do so, they're going to need to be closer to a sense of purpose. It's not going to be easy to do something that you're passionate about, but it's going to mean more. Your life is going to be better for you, because you're not going to have to push your demons back into your closet, because you're not going to have nearly as many, because what you're going to do for yourself is going to mean something. It's going to align with your values. So hoping that that kind of takes us to a good closing part of this episode, and apologies for having a bit of a busy day today, but I've really enjoyed this chat.
Yeah, I've first off, that is
Love that.
yeah, that whole ending was perfect, Chris. And I gotta say, like, that idea of purpose, and that idea of being able to adapt and trust in yourself to do those things are a whole nother avenue that we could go down, which I would love to. And what you just kind of summarized there, it really it connects well to a few things you said earlier on, about not being the hero in somebody else's journey and leading them, finding that purpose, doing all of those things, which I wanted to get. Well, this is what we're gonna have to do. Like in the next 2 weeks, let's schedule another time and get back on this, because like there's a few things, Chris, I would love for you to articulate on, because like I have questions myself, and this summing up what you guys said today, and on all honesty, I'm not just saying this, like it kind of encapsulates where my mind has been over the past, like I would say year, and like the mindset and the thought process that I've kind of developed, which is a lot deeper. Like there's a lot of deep things that I want to go into here, and I would love your input. So are you guys good with doing that? Like sometime in the next few weeks, getting back for a part 2, because I really want to hear both of your inputs, and you're going to lead the discussion, Chris, because a lot of the things you said, we're going to summarize. This will give me time to think about it too, but I love everything about this. Like this was a great podcast, a great start to maybe some deeper conversations, but as always, it was fantastic.
Excellent.
Both of you give us one last parting words.
I'm going to take Mark's fire away and say, tell someone that you love them.
That sounds wonderful.
I would say get some Jamaican coffee beans, but no, outside of all of that, it's like The Man's Searches for Meaning. Like I've never read that book, but every time I hear someone talk about it, I think about Hamlet, because I had to study Hamlet like a boss. And it's to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the minds, blah, 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 blah. I could go on, but it's like to be or not to be. Like it either serves you or it doesn't serve you. It's either in your control or it's not in your control. But you need to make that choice, because what you aren't changing, you are choosing. What you aren't choosing, you're not changing. So you need to know what choices you want to make that are going to direct you forward. And I'll leave this. Okay, I found what I wanted to end it on. I'm going to leave this with my biggest quote. It's, you can be going backwards, you can be going forwards, you could be still. You will still make progress if your north is north. Know your North Star and keep focused on that in your mind. Because no matter what direction you go in life, as long as you're focused forward, you will always find your way.
I love it. Know your North Star. All right, my friends, that was fantastic. Until we meet again within the next week or so, you guys have the best, most wonderful, awesome Canadian and Australian day of your lives.